What's going on YouTube? It's Jason again with JJ Drones, and today we're bringing back the Mini 4 Pro and we're going to go through Waypoints. Let's get in the video. Okay guys, so we actually did Waypoints on another drone. We did the Waypoints on the Mavic 3 Classic. And what I wanted to do was I wanted to show you how you can do the Waypoints also on the Mini 4 Pro and get the same results. We're going to not only fly this during the day, but we're also going to try flying it at night and seeing if we get the same results that we did with the Mavic 3 Classic. Now, in order for you to get into Waypoints, the first thing that you have to do is you need to turn on the Mini 4 Pro and the controller. So let's get that started. The reason that you would use Waypoints in the first place is if you're trying to create a scenario to where you can do the same things over and over again, all you have to do is basically set up all of your points and then save it to the controller, and then after you do that you can keep coming back and doing the same flight over and over again. So let's say you're doing a building site, or if you're trying to do like a time lapse over the course of a year and you want to go back and fly the same place over and over again. That's one reason to do it. Another reason, if you're just not very confident in your flying skills and you want to have the drone do all of the work itself, that's another good reason to do something like that. So let's jump into the controller and I'll show you how you can set things up without even flying the drone. Okay guys, so we're in the controller right now and we're going to go into the Go Fly, and the drone is on and it's on my floor. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the left hand side. There's the little arrow with the little squiggly line. Click on that. Now it says plan waypoint flight. Now you can do this without actually flying the drone. Now I don't recommend it because when you're doing this you're just seeing it on basically a flat map and you're not really sure what is around you at that point. Now you can actually go into here and you can change this to a satellite view. So now we've actually got the satellite view of where we're located. Now if you want, you can scroll through the satellite, and you do have to be connected to the internet for this, so just keep that in mind if you're going to do this without flying. Now all you have to do is click on the screen, and now we have our first waypoint. And then let's say that we want to come over here and we're going to add a second waypoint, and then we're going to come over here to the ice rink. Now we have our third waypoint. Come back over here by the baseball field. We have our fourth waypoint, and then that is where we're going to end it. Now the nice thing about doing this is you can go into each waypoint. Now you can change what the camera will do. As of right now it is nothing, because this is going to be your first waypoint. Your altitude, you can change the altitude. Obviously you're not going to go up to 700 feet, but it defaulted at like 164 feet. And then you can change the global speed. Right now it's set at 5.59 miles per hour. You can adjust that however fast or slow you want it to go. What is it going to do after the flight? Now this is all just basic settings that is going to happen on the entire thing. So at the end of the flight, do you want it to return to home? Do you want it to hover? Do you want it to land? Or do you want it to go back to the start? Most of the time I usually have it do hover, because I can just basically take it from there and bring it back home. On signal lost, do you want it to return to home? Do you want it to hover? Do you want it to land? What do you want it to do? So that is another option that you can basically decide depending on what you're doing at the time. And then what is the waypoint start point? Do you want it to start at point number 1? Do you want to start at number 2, number 3, and so on, depending on how many waypoints you have in your mission? So that is something that you can go in and you can change all of those. I like to have the speed probably around 3 miles per hour or 5 miles per hour. I don't like to go like super fast. It really depends on what you're doing, but we'll just keep the global speed at 5.14. At the end of the flight, we're going to have it hover, and on signal lost, we're going to have it hover because we're going to be right there. We're going to be able to see it. And when we're flying this at night, we definitely don't want it to do anything that's going to damage the drone. So just keep that in mind. Now, we're going to go back, and we're going to go back into our waypoints. You can change the gimbal tilt. So let's say you want the gimbal to be down 19 degrees. I mean, you can do that. You can have it zoom if you would like. You can have it hover there for a number of seconds. Let's say you want it to just sit there and hover for 7 seconds. You can do that. There's so many different ways that you can configure this to have the drone do exactly what you want it to do. Now you can change this from follow course. See where it says heading now? You can change that. And if you see on the screen the little arrow, that is where the drone is going to be facing. So now if you want to do zoom, you can change that. So there's so many different things that you can do. You can set these up before you even get out into the field. Again, this isn't something that I recommend because when you're doing this, you don't know what the obstructions are. Now, I know what the obstructions are right outside my window because I live here. But if you're going to do something like this, definitely make sure that you know the area that you're going to be flying. Definitely make sure that you know all of the obstructions that you're going to be facing, especially at night. During the daytime, the obstacle avoidance will help, but it's not going to be 100% foolproof. In fact, if you run into an obstacle, half the time the drone will actually shut down the entire mission, and then you're going to have to start all over again. So what I do suggest is you going out to the field and setting up your waypoints by using the drone flying in the air and using the controller with the C1 button. And what we're going to do now is we're going to go outside and I'm going to show you that and how you set that up while the drone is flying in the air. We're going to set up a waypoints mission during the day, and we're going to show you how that looks after it's done. And then after that, tonight, we're going to run the same waypoints mission as we did during the daytime, and we're going to see if you get the same results as you do on the Mavic 3 Classic. So let's go outside. All right, guys, so we got the drone set up on the back of the truck, and we've got the screen recording turned on. We're going to get the drone up in the air. We do have our Lance approval. Now, first thing that we're going to do is we're going to put this thing up 30 feet up in the air so we get our home point established. And then once we get the home point established, then what we're going to do is we're going to go out there and we're going to try and set up a waypoints mission. And that's what they call it, a waypoints mission. So now we're going to bring this back down. And as you can see on the side, we have a little squiggly thing. Now it says press C1 button to add waypoint, right? I gotta move the little timer thing. All right, so we're gonna move the drone forward and we're going to start with our first waypoint. Now we're not going to want to start underneath the power lines. That's going to be crazy. Now because we're going to be doing this at night, we don't want to have any sort of obstacles. So let's go right about here, all right? Okay guys, so what we want to do is we want to make sure that we get these waypoints done where there aren't going to be any obstacles. Now at night, you're not going to be able to see much because it's going to be dark. But there is no obstacle avoidance flying at night. So you can move the gimbal however you want it, and then you hit C1, and then you've got your first waypoint, okay? C2, or C1 again, you got your second waypoint. Third, and so on and so forth. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through, I'm going to make all these waypoints. Now if you're going to do an orbit around something, you want as many waypoints in there as you can. Because if you don't, it's not going to look as smooth. Now, this is going to be really crude, and we're going to start bringing up the gimbal as it's going around. Okay guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish putting this waypoint mission together, and then I'll show you what it looks like when we're done.
Are you thinking about me tonight? It's no secret, all my friends already know. There's no reason to hold it back, I let it show. All my feelings. Are you thinking about me tonight? Your hands around my waist, just let the music play. Like a drug, I am hooked on you. Sweeter than summer wine. Baby, just hold me tight. Like a drug.
Okay guys, so we have our first waypoint mission already all set up. We've got 44 different waypoints. Now what we can do is we can actually go into the map and we can look and see what our waypoints look like. Now we should be able to, yeah, that's zoomed in as far as it'll go. We can actually go through and we can look at all the different waypoints that we have. You can click on every single one of them and you can change it. You can tell it to take a photo, you can start recording, stop recording, whatever you want to do. But what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our first waypoint in the system. Now, the first thing that we want to do is we need to say we want it to start recording at that point. Okay, so we're going to go back, and then we can go to the end on this one, and we want it to do stop recording. Okay, so now that we have that all set up, we're going to go back, and then we need to go into the global settings. Now, what speed do we want to do this at? So right now the duration is right around 6 minutes and 12 seconds on that flight. We're probably going to bring this up to about 8 miles per hour. At the end of the flight, we want it to return to home, or do we want it to hover? We're just going to do hover, okay? On signal lost, we're just going to have it hover because we're just right here. We're going to want it to start on waypoint number 1. If you wanted to, you could have it continue on the entire mission. If you lose the signal, I mean, that's completely up to you. You're taking a risk, though. You definitely don't want to lose control with the, or you don't want to lose the signal with the controller, because if you lose the signal with the controller, there's a very good possibility that you could end up losing your drone. So just be aware of that as well. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to hit next. Okay, we've already done all that. The only other thing we can do is we can save this. All right, guys, so now that we have our Waypoints mission saved, we're going to be able to use this pretty much anytime that we want, but we don't know what it looks like yet. We're not going to know what it looks like until we actually put the drone up in the air. So the first thing we're going to do is going to put the drone up in the air. All right, guys, if we hit go, this should go to the first waypoint. Okay, so that was a fail. That almost went right into the power line. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually start it. Wow, that was freaky. All right, so we're going to stop recording on the drone itself. And now we're going to go to our waypoints. Whew. All right. We'll go next. And now we're going to start it right there. And then we're going to hit go. Now the drone is flying up. Now it is going over to our first waypoint. All right. Now we're going to have to stop this because it did not start recording where we were supposed to. So let's go back. Waypoint number 1. Start recording. Okay. Go to the last waypoint. I don't know why it didn't save it, but we're going to definitely make sure that this part is saved. We want it to stop recording at the end. Okay. Now we're going to go back and we're going to save this one. Save. Okay. Now we're also going to want to change the speed because the speed is definitely way too fast. I want to start the mission right here. Okay, go to global speed. Let's put it down to 3. How about that? No, let's go 4. All right, on end of flight, we want it to hover. Signal lost, we want it to hover. Start at waypoint 1, go. And that is it. That is the end of the Waypoints mission. And the only other thing that I will tell you as a tip is make sure that after you get done setting all your waypoints and stuff, make sure you have like another battery, because this battery is just about drained down to 27%. And if the battery gets below 20% while you're trying to finish your Waypoints flight, it's going to end it, and it's going to do a return to home, and then you're going to have to basically start all over from scratch. So make sure that you have enough battery power to run the waypoints as soon as you're done setting them all up. So it's always good to have 2 batteries instead of just one. The Mini 4 Pro actually has a flight time of over 40 minutes. So we actually were able to get the most out of this battery. But I'm going to land the drone right now, and then as soon as we land it, that's going to be the end of this part of it. But we're going to come back and we're going to fly the same Waypoints mission tonight and see what the results are. So stay with me. Okay guys, we're outside, and it is a lot windier than it was this afternoon. We've got the Mini up on the truck bed like we did before. So I've got the screen recording on the drone, and if the camera falls over, I don't know if the GoPro's gonna hold where it is, but we're gonna find out. So we're gonna go and we're gonna launch this drone. Again, this is windier than before. So we're going to try and get this thing done as quickly as possible. But this is also going to be a good test for the drone as far as whether or not it can handle doing this in stronger wind gusts. Now we're going to go into our waypoints that are saved. So you just go and you click on the little icon there. There we go. Okay. Now we're gonna hit next. Oh, we need to make sure that we've got, okay, that is all good. So now we're gonna hit next. We're gonna increase the speed because we want to get this done as quickly and safely as possible. It's going to hover at the end of flight, and it's going to hover if signal is lost. Now the only other thing that we need to do is put it into night mode. So it is in night mode now. All right, now let's see, because with the Mavic 3 Classic, when I took off and got the thing started, it wasn't able to film starting in night mode. We had to pause it. So let's see if this is any different. We're gonna hit go. It's still in night mode. It's going to its first position. I don't know if it's going to be able to do it, guys. It's trying. Oh, we have to pause it. It took it out of night mode and put it into normal mode. Okay. Put it back into night mode. Back, and then resume. All right, we are filming in night mode again. It's going around the tree. got a strong wind warning on the controller. If the drone doesn't finish this, I'm not going to be surprised. Okay, now you can see the paper mill in the background. Yeah, the one thing that I don't really like, guys, is the fact that you can film this in night mode, but if you're going to do waypoints, you have to actually pause it and then put it in night mode after you have paused it, and then you can resume the flight. Okay, we got another strong wind warning. I mean, this is just eating up the battery. We're already down to 80%. Now, I'm not worried about having it return to home because it's going to end up right above us by the time this is all said and done. Unbelievable, guys. Hang on. Before we land it, look at how much that drone is just shaking in the air. I mean, this wind is brutal for this little guy. So I'm gonna have to check the UAV forecast when we get in the house. And it'll tell you exactly what kind of winds we're dealing with. But I'm gonna land this little guy on the bed of the truck, get the winds from the UAV forecast, and then we'll talk about it when I get back in the house. So stay with me. Okay, guys, so we're back inside the house, and I did look up at UAV forecast, and looking on their app, it actually shows, and you can see right here, that the winds were gusting up to 19 miles an hour. I don't really know if that's completely accurate because I think that the winds were blowing maybe more like 25, 30 miles an hour. but the only thing that I can go by is what is on the app. But this little guy here, he was really struggling to stay solid. But when you look at the footage was rock solid, and that is just the reason that you get a DJI drone like this, because you're not going to get that quality from a mini drone. I keep trying to explain how small this is, but here's a soda can. Here's the mini, okay? That is the kind of size we're dealing with here. And I mean, it really drained the batteries down. And the only reason why it did that is because this drone was just trying to do all of the functions that it's trying to do, flying it in night flight, fighting the winds. There were a couple of times when I was flying that the high wind warning came on, basically saying that it's not going to be able to return to home by itself because the winds are too high, and basically just bring it back home. But we were going to do the test regardless, because that is what we're supposed to do as creators. We're supposed to push these out to their maximum so that you guys know what you can do when you're flying it on your own. And so if you appreciate the fact that I'm willing to go those lengths, go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you can be notified the next time I upload one of these tests to YouTube. And like I told you guys before, I'm willing to do tests that you guys are looking to see on YouTube. So as long as they're not crazy, stupid, or like setting the drone on fire or something, I'd be happy to do the test. So you can email me, jason@jjdrones360.com, and even in the description or in the comment section below, you can let me know what you would like to see as a test of the Mini 4 Pro. I think this drone is fantastic. In fact, this has been my daily driver, and I've got the the Mavic 3 Classic just sitting in the case, and I do need to take that out every once in a while and fly it. But I mean, testing this little guy has been just so much fun, and I know that there's some more testing that I want to do with the active track, especially in the auto mode. So look forward to that sometime in the future, hopefully when weather cooperates a little bit better, because it's supposed to be snowing like nobody's business tonight. So anyway, I appreciate all of you for coming along for this ride with me, and we'll see you later on down the road. Bye guys.